We're learning new details about what led to the stabbing Wednesday of a Frisco teenager at a track meet.
And just like clockwork, the racist whites and self-hating blacks are showing up and coming out of the woodwork. But there's another group that's doing absolutely nothing. Let's talk about it. What's up, YouTube? I'm Chef Dex. If you're here, you already know where it's at, and you already know what it is. I need two favors from you. I need you to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I drop a new video. I'm asking you to help me help my channel grow. Now, before I get into this next story, I want to say that in no way I'm trying to minimize the events that took place at this track meet. In no way I'm trying to condone violence whatsoever. However, we have to look at the facts from both sides, and that therein lies the problem. When the media covered this story, it raised some alarm bells in my head. Okay, now if you don't know the story, 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed at a track meet in Frisco, Texas by another 17-year-old by the name of Karmelo Anthony. Okay. With that being said, again, not condoning the violence. I'm very sympathetic to the family that lost their son. However, the media spin and the internet spin is bothering me. Okay? In the news, they presented it as this. A 17-year-old kid was simply killed for asking someone to switch seats. There's more to the story than that. But that little headline, that little media spin brought out the racist. Okay? And in a minute, I'm going to play a clip and we're going to get into what I'm saying. But this is truly, if you take color out of it, an apples to apples comparison. And it is exactly how the media, even social media, podcasters will spin a thing and then take that thing they spent and accuse us of being race baiters. Play the clip.
So there was a black student, and this was at a track meet, a stabbing. People use the term senseless killing. And yeah, most killing is senseless, but often you can find a motivation, or you can find some kernel of, warped as it may be, reasoning from the killer's point of view. And I understand they're psychopaths, they can be sociopaths, but sometimes there's something we go, okay, this is where it went wrong. In this case, it truly does meet the definition of a completely senseless killing, and that's why it's so heartbreaking. It happened in Frisco, Texas. Here's a briefing.
Frisco Memorial High School community will honor a student today after he was stabbed to death at a track meet. Yesterday morning, 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was at a District 11 5A track meet at Kukendall Stadium. Frisco police say around 10 a.m., 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest after some sort of fight. It's unclear how Anthony got the knife into the meat or exactly what led up to the fight. Anthony now facing first-degree murder charges.
It's tragic, and actually, here's a look at, of course, this has touched a lot of people, the violent protests in reaction to the stabbing. Starting to get the picture? Now, I'm going to be quite clear about this. This is not racially motivated as far as we know, but to act as though there isn't a component or a pattern that people recognize, that would only serve to breed more racism. We do need to have an honest conversation about this.
The condescending protest clip was knee-slapping funny, man. Stop it. I am rolling. Anyway, I have to assume the pattern that this man is referring to is the violence that young black men commit against young white men. I also have to assume part of that pattern is the brownwashing of the media. Okay, all I've heard so far about the victim, Austin Metcalf, okay, is that he was a high academic achiever. He loved football. He had multiple offer letters. He went to church every Sunday. Him and his twin brother and his mother worked at the same pizza restaurant. They had been working there for like 4 years. They were this tight-knit family, and they probably were. They probably were. I'm sure this is a devastating loss to their family. Okay? But listen to those characteristics. This is all legacy media and these bro white boy podcasts speak glowingly of Austin Metcalf. And I'm sure he was fine. I'm not taking that away from him. If he was a high academic achiever and a football star, great, good on you. I hate that his life got cut short. Okay? But what do we know about Karmelo Anthony? Do we know anything? Or do we only make assumptions based on the fact that he stabbed this young man and what he looks like in his mugshot? Because that's all. The media hasn't told us anything about him. Nothing. But let's play another clip of this clown, and I'm going to move on to the next thing.
I don't know exactly what has happened with this stabbing here in Frisco, but I do know this. Someone who stabbed somebody over asking for them to, what we know is move seats, like, hey, you're sitting in the wrong place. That's someone who has had a simmering, festering hatred that has been instilled in them.
So you want to stand on that, white boy? He is painting the picture that a young black man with festering, violent anger issues just lashed out and stabbed somebody because he simply asked him to change seats. The only thing Austin Metcalf did was ask him to change seats. And this violent young black man just stabbed him. And there's a pattern here. Can we recognize the pattern? No, sir. No, sir. I don't see a pattern. But when I lay out the rest of these facts, I bet you'll see a pattern. So now, let's talk about Karmelo Anthony. This is the guy the media shows you. That's the young man that Crowder bitch was talking about. Violent, festering anger. That's the young man. But I'm going to show you a different Karmelo Anthony. Oh, yeah, very different. And by the way, he played ball too. Karmelo Anthony was a straight A student that worked 2 jobs. He was a high academic achiever. Karmelo Anthony also got college letters. He was a high athletic achiever. Played football, ran track, obviously. Okay, so where is the hate and the meanness coming from that you talk? Where's the pattern that this white boy is talking about? I don't see the pattern. The young man said it was self-defense. Maybe, just maybe, the pattern more falls in line with white men thinking they can do and say what they want consequence-free. Now let me be clear, I'm not condoning violence. This should not have happened, but we gotta look at everything as it is. How about maybe, allegedly, they put their hands on this young man aggressively? How about maybe, allegedly, they bullied him? How about maybe, allegedly, they broke his cell phone? We don't know. Maybe they grabbed him forcefully because white men think they can do what they want. That's the pattern, right? And tried to remove him, and that young man defended himself. That's the pattern. Violence beget violence. Okay? Let's look at it for what it is. Let's stop saying this kid was stabbed simply because he asked someone to change seats. No, sir. That just doesn't make sense on its face. White men consistently think they can do and say what they want because it's always how it's been, consequence free. And it is white men like these bro podcasters and these shitheads that like to reverse it, make it funny, make it a joke, and call it race baiting. No, let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. There's a section of America that believes in their mind they can do what they want consequence free. And then, well, is violence the answer? If America is the teacher, if America is the test and the test question, then violence is the answer. We could start back from the settlers, work our way up to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, slavery, westward expansion, what was done to the natives. If America is the test question, violence is the answer. Now, this young man, Karmelo Anthony, was a straight A student with what I understand, allegedly, a 4.0 GPA. He was also an athlete, okay? He was also college bound, okay? He comes from a good background, respectable young man, okay? But the media in these bro podcasts are really trying really hard to reshape his image into this mean, violent, brute with festering anger just waiting to come out. And that's bullshit. That's bullshit. As a black community, we need to stand up and say something for this man, this young man. Which brings me to the self-haters, the coons, the house niggas, whatever word you want to apply to them. Because there's always them, yes, a boss, bag carrying, Steven from Django clowns, like this one.
If you guys haven't checked the news yet today, there was an unbelievable tragedy at a track meet in Frisco, Texas, where a student, notably a black student, murdered a competitor over a seat underneath a tent at the track meet.
The self-haters are in full effect, simply over a seat. See how he just made it seem as innocent as possible. Notably, the black kid murdered the white kid simply over a seat. Then he posts the mugshot versus the high school yearbook photo. The self-hate is real. But wait, there's more.
According to Jeff Metcalf, Austin's father, he says that a confrontation began when Austin told Karmelo Anthony, yes, that is his real ghetto name with a K.
Race hating. His whole ghetto name with a K. Is that any more or less ghetto than a non-traditional spelling of the name Xavier? I have to ask that question. And based on my perception of this black man, I bet he's been bullied at some point in his lifestyle. I bet he's been disrespected at some point in his lifestyle. So why is there a lack of empathy, relativeness, and sympathy in the black community when it comes to our own? He said notably the black kid. But what he didn't say was notably the black kid who's a straight A student as well. Notably the black kid who has 2 jobs. Notably the black kid who comes from a strong upbringing. He lives in a community where the median income is $150,000. Notably, the black kid is a respectable person. Somehow this happened. I wonder what happened that led up to this. No, That's not what this guy did. This self-hater decided to post a mugshot of the Karmelo Anthony, the young man, in the high school yearbook photo of Mr. Metcalf. Why do we do that to one another? Also, we need to check ourselves. If we're going to get away from legacy media and call ourselves reporters, the one thing we need to do when something like this happens is handle it differently than what legacy media does. Because there's one thing that I've left out. The police department, the local police department in Frisco, is investigating who set up a fake Facebook page with AI-generated photos of Karmelo Anthony holding guns and in certain poses doing things with misleading information. Okay? I'm going to drill down on that, but I want to reach out to the police department. I want to hear straight from them. Why do we do that to one another? Now, I also said there's a group that's doing absolutely nothing. And I said that wrong. There are several groups. 9, to be exact. They call themselves the Divine 9. Now, I don't expect no marches. I don't expect no protests. I don't expect nothing. But when you drill down on the facts of this case, this kid doesn't need a public defender. This kid needs the Johnny Cochran of Texas. You know he's not cut from the cloth because he told the police, I was just defending myself, man. A hardcore criminal know the rules. Shut up, don't say shit. Now the prosecution has his playbook. Think about it. Now he needs the lawyer of all lawyers if this was self-defense. So there are 9 groups that can just get together to donate to his GoFundMe. Because what I know for a fact, Luigi Mangione allegedly murdered a man on the sidewalk. Regardless how you feel about insurance, that was an innocent man. He killed him. Luigi Mangione has a GoFundMe. $890,000 in it. So white people take care of their own. Last I checked, this young man's GoFundMe was only $13,000. So a murderer has almost $1 million in his GoFundMe. A murderer. That man is a murderer. And a black young man with a bright, promising future. And we know how we get treated in the justice system. Those members of those 9 groups, when this guy get prosecuted, well, that's how it happens, and we don't never get justice. Well, just like OJ bought his justice, and we all know what really happened. We all know what OJ really did. This man needs a lawyer. He needs an attorney. I donate to the GoFundMe. Okay? Let's take care of our own. There's 2 more groups that ain't doing shit. And you ain't, like I said, it ain't about marching and protesting. This young man just needs the funding for the legal defense. What's wrong with donating Masons? What's wrong with donating Eastern Stars? Why everything gotta be well, you know how they do us. And then why we gotta have those self-haters, notably a black guy. Why we gotta have those white bro podcasts? Well, it's different. See, there's no protest. It's just for just a seat. It's fucking bullshit. They make it sound all, well, he just wanted a seat. I'm gonna tell you what I think happened. This is all speculation. Don't hold me to nothing, because I'm just speculating. I'm willing to bet you Karmelo Anthony sat down to either get out of the sun or the rain. It's a track meet. That's what the shades are there for. And I'm willing to bet you that these two young white men, because white men think they can do and say whatever they want consequence free, decided to say, hey, get your ASS phone out of here, dog. You under the wrong thing. He's like, nah, man, I'm just chilling. I said get up and move. They probably grabbed him or his stuff, and that young man wound up defending himself. And because they're brothers, you probably had a 2-on-1 situation. Maybe a 3-on-1 situation, because I'm sure they got friends, because they gonna get this boy from under our tent. Because it's consequence free, there are no consequences. Because they know, had they did it and beat him up and something, and he went to the principal would have done nothing. Well, come on, man, it's just boys. For them, it's boys will be boys. For us, it's mean and vicious anger. That's what I think happened. That's just my theory, though. I ain't putting nothing out there. The only thing I'm putting out there that I know is that Karmelo Anthony was a straight A student, never been in trouble, worked 2 jobs, respectable young man from a good family. That's what I know is true. And that's as per his father and another family member that I had the privilege to talk to in my DMs. So what I'm telling you is not bullshit. Other than my theory. That's my theory as to what happened. I'm just assuming, because I can't imagine somebody saying, hey, you mind if I get that seat? Stab, stab, stab. No, it don't work like that. It's not how it works. But the white folk gonna make you believe something. If some of these coon ass niggas out here gonna make you believe what the white folk want you to believe. And then the media gonna make you believe that this was a sweet, precious angel that only asked if he could change seats with somebody. And that's bullshit. If you made it this far, thank you. Please click like and subscribe and stick with me on this one, because I'm going to follow this one as far as I can follow it until I can't follow it no more. And I'm going to bring you the facts about this. I'm not going to bring you the bullshit rumors. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side.